Good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir. So, for today's discussion, we will talk about Aristotle virtue ethics. But before we start our discussion, let us have a brief introduction about Aristotle. So, Aristotle or Aristoteles, he is a Greek philosopher and a scientist, and he is born on 384 BC in Stagira, Greece. So, kung alam ninyo, Aristotle is the author of the best-known work in ethics, which is the Nicomachean Ethics. So, the Nicomachean Ethics book, so dito, diniscuss ni Aristotle kung paano magiging mabuting tao ang isang individual or kung paano magkakaroon ng magandang asal ang isang individual mula sa ibang tao at sa kanyang sarili. Based on the book and Aristotle, the first is telos. This important term can be translated variously as end, goal, or purpose. According to Aristotle, we have a telos as humans, which is, it is our goal to fulfill. This telos is based on our uniquely human capacity for rational thought. So let's admit it na sa buhay natin, gusto natin ng masaya, ng happy ending. So the telos means purpose, goal, or end. So just like sa mga fairy tale movies, gusto natin ng happy ending. Just like sa buhay natin, di ba? Pareho lang sa buhay natin. Gusto natin ng happy ending kasi na-achieve natin kung ano yung gusto natin ma-achieve and na-attain natin yung goals natin. So that is our ideal ending. So this is telos according to Aristotle. Accordingly, having a telos within is what realizes or actualizes our own potential. All things that exists or happens to fulfill their teloi. This telos is what actually makes things unique or differentiate one thing from other. So, sinasabi dito na we have a telos within or we have a purpose within. We have a goal. So, this simply explains that our existence in this world has a purpose. Since alam na natin ang meaning ng telos, let's move on to telos principle. Everything has an intellectually or having telos inside. So intellectually means having a telos inside or a purpose and goal in your life. So the telos or end of a person is his rationality. Rationality po is intelligence. It is his rationality makes him self-sufficient. A self-sufficient person means that as he lacks nothing, he is capable of providing for himself what he needs and wants. In times of isolation and suffering, he alone can freely make his life desirable and meaningful. So according to Aristotle, we are a rational being. Kasi nga may kakayahan tayong mag-isip, may emotions tayo, and we know how to reason out, kaya nasabing we are a rational being. Rationality or intelligence is what distinguishes a person from plants and animals. So just like what I said kanina, yung pagiging rational natin as a person, ito yung mga bagay na wala sa halaman at hayop. May katalinuhan tayo compared sa plants and animals. So for Aristotle, a person has a tripartite soul, which is the rational, vegetative, and appetitive. Sa rational, we are a rational being kasi tayo ay may isip. We are capable of thinking, acting, socializing, and taking responsibility. Next is vegetative. So, responsible for nutrition and growth has no significant relation with rational. So, this has something to do with our physical body. Third is the appetitive. Governs desire is partly irrational but partly rational as it could be trained to follow reason. So the appetitive po is it has something to do with our emotions. So to continue the next slides or this discussion, may I call on Mr. Jericho Alvarado.
So, ayan. Thank you, Miss Dante. For the next slide, which I will discuss, we have here eudaimonia. So, what is eudaimonia? So it is the ultimate telos or highest good. Telos means final cause. It is the idea that there is a purpose or goal for everything. So for example, the purpose of a pencil is to write, and telephone is to able to communicate. So eudaimonia as the attainment of the daimon or perfect presupposes. So self-sufficiency. Um, you can do it with yourself, without the help of others. Self self-acceptance. Be authentic and true to yourself. So and lastly, self-mastery. So it is focused on something positive every day. So those who show strong self-mastery don't let their emotion to control them. So they control their own emotion. So eudaimonia is not actually a passive state but an active living of a best life. So it is must be the final end, cannot be a means to other ends. So many agree that it may be called also as happiness. So well-being, good life, realization and supreme good. So but they may not really agree on what makes or how to achieve a flourishing or happy life. So the closest English word for ancient Greek term eudaimonia is probably flourishing. So the philosopher Aristotle used it as a broad concept to describe the highest good human could strive toward or a life well lived. So it is an activity of the soul that purposefully attempts to choose the mean between two extremes in the realm of morality. So as the saying goes, you can put a good man down. So it is a life of eudaimonia, is a life of striving, it is a life of pushing yourself to your limits. So and finding success. So a eudaimonistic life will be full of happiness. So that came from achieving something really difficult. So rather than just having it handed to you. So yan, for the next slide, happiness principle. So happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life. So the whole aim and end of human existence. So that's the reason why we live our life, to be happy, to experience happiness in life, and we face all these problems, hard works, dedication in life, going to school every day. So for what? To able to step on that stage and get our diploma and get our job to become rich someday. So and syempre to buy our needs and wants to have a happy life. So yun lang po. That's all for eudaimonia. For the next slide, happiness as virtue, that will be discussed by Miss Foliosco.
Happiness may consider as virtue or disposition that could be developed. Happiness is not only an end, but also a means for so many ends, including the ultimate end. It could also be an activity that becomes a habit, a virtue. Everything we do is because we are pursuing some goals, some ends. For example, you exercise so that you can be fit or healthy. But why do we pursue those ends? What is the end for which we pursue all these other ends? Aristotle says, we do these ends in order to be happy. Happiness refers to the life of the person as a whole. It is an excellent disposition that leads to its self-well-being. It is handling excellently one's happiness, especially in the most difficult situation to achieve ultimate happiness. According to Aristotle, happiness consists in achieving through the course of whole lifetime all the goods, health, wealth, knowledge, friends, etc. that lead to the perfection of human nature and the enrichment of human life. This requires us to make choices, some of which may be very difficult. Often the lesser good promises immediate pleasure and is more tempting, while the greater good is painful and requires some sort of sacrifice. For example, it may be easier and more enjoyable to spend the night watching television, but you know that you will be better off if you spend it researching for your term paper. Developing a good character requires a strong effort of will to do the right thing even in difficult situations. Happiness can be known, understood, and practiced. It is practical that could be found in human interactions with fellow human, animals, plants, and the world. For example, having a laugh is associated with feeling better. Also, it is beneficial for the sense of well-being not to take life too seriously. Just as children find joy in simple pleasures, happiness is the long-term and total well-being virtue. It is lifetime independent process of mastering happiness so it becomes sustainable and final. Aristotle believed that true happiness could only be found through self-improvement and inner growth. This meant that people should take an active role in shaping their own lives by honing their skills and developing their character. A virtuous person would be well-rounded and balanced, while an excellent person would be highly skilled and knowledgeable.
To continue our discussion, next is virtue as habit. The Greek word for virtue is arete, which means excellence. From the Latin word vir, which means man or male, thus virtue is manliness or human excellence. Even though virtue is derived from vir, man or male, virtue does not apply only to man, but to all human beings. Virtue is a state of character which makes a person good and capable of fulfilling his or her talents as a human person. Virtues are not emotions but rationalities of person that can be fully developed if they are done in the right way all the time at any given situation. Virtues such as courage, integrity, and responsibility are acquired good habits through habituation or constant practice and self-mastery. They are traits that contribute to the functioning well of reason and regulate the desires of the person's appetitive nature. Practice makes perfect. By practicing virtues, one way persistently and repeatedly do right actions so that they slowly develop the appropriate attitude and right disposition of character, the sum of all virtues. Aristotle identified four basic moral virtues: prudence, temperance, courage, and justice. The first one is prudence. Prudence is often considered to be the mother of all virtues, as it is the condition that makes all other possible. Etymologically, the word prudence derives from the Latin prudentia, which means wisdom, foresight. In example, the ability to look ahead to make informed decisions. Next is temperance. Temperance is defined by the Catechism of the Catholic Church as the moral virtue that moderates the attraction of pleasures and provides balance in the use of created goods. It ensures the will's mastery over instincts and keeps desires within the limits of what is honorable. The third is courage. Courage is the ability to stand up for and practice that which are once considered ethical, moral behavior when faced with a dilemma, even if it means going against countervailing pressure to do otherwise. Fourth is justice, means giving each person what he or she deserves, or in more traditional terms, giving each person his or her due. Justice and fairness are closely related terms that are often today used interchangeably.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I am Nicole Jose Monte Alegre and I'm the next reporter. Okay, my topic is all about Aristotle principle virtues and vices. Aristotle virtues and vices. What is all about Aristotle virtues and vices? Okay, as you can see, meron ditong virtue, example of virtue. There have a courage, temperance, liberty, magnificences, or etc. Okay, in my own explanation, Aristotle famously conceives of virtue as a mean between an excess and lack of the virtuous quality in question, locating fortitude, for instance between rashes and cowardice. And also, according to him, virtue are a character disposition or a personal traits, and this is the focus on your disposition and our character or character of person. Okay, ano nga ba ang virtue? Virtue is suggest recreating or treating our character as a lifelong project, one that has the capacity to truly change who we are. Okay? Naintindihan nyo? To truly change who we are. The next is, what is excess? What is excess? Okay, as you can see at the chart, there have example of excess, the rashness, variety, or etc. Okay, excess, it's called vice excess. It can be used to determine the rightness and wrongness of an action by relating the choice to admirable character traits. Opo. Ang excess is a vice excess na nakakatukoy ng tama o mali ng isang tao. Alright. The next is deficiency. What is all about deficiency? Okay. Example of deficiency is A, cowardice, insensibility, liberty, patronage, boldness, and etc. That is the example of deficiency. But according to Aristotle, the deficiency is a virtuous habit of an action is always an intermediately state between the opposed vices of excess and deficiency. Too much and too little are always wrong. Dun ang sinabi niya. According yun kay Aristotle. Okay. Let's come now to the next slide. The next slide is all about a truly virtuous action is performed by someone who is not simply compelled to do so. A person that does virtuous acts chooses to act such as a way for the sake of being virtuous. The choice comes from a certain firmness of character that is not easily swayed by one passion or influenced by certain factors in a given situation. And for the further explanation, sabi doon ay hindi basta-basta napipilitan sa kanyang ginagawa or her or his action are according to plan and emotion stage in short and pagkukusa. Okay, for the explanation for that is, yung tao daw, hindi siya gumagawa para lang napipilitan siya. Okay, everyone can do that. Everyone have a attitudes like that because everyone cannot hesitating without kung ano ang ginagawa niya. Dapat hindi ka ma-hesitate kung ano ang ginagawa mo. And it's because dapat kung gagawa ka ng isang bagay ay naaayon at bukal sa iyong puso. Nakakasama kasi o kaya parang ang weird na gumagawa ka na napipilitan ka nga. Like yung explanation ko nga kanina. Because everyone is doing without further ado. Yan. Okay, for the next topic, our next topic it's all about a virtue person is someone who has been used to acting virtues that is becomes tremendously difficult for anything or anyone to convince him or her to act otherwise. To a certain degree, vices are no longer an option for a truly virtuous person. Or sinabi dito, ang isang banal na tao ay isang taong nasanay ng kumilos ng may kabanalan na nagiging lubhang mahirap para sa anuman o sino man na kumbinsihin siya na kumilos ng iba. Sa isang tiyak na antas, ang mga bisyo ay hindi na isang opsyon para sa isang tunay na tao. Okay, for that, I agree for that because ang bisyo ay hindi siya opsyon. Bisyo is a choice. Kung choice mong maging mabuti, kung choice mong maging masama. It's all about yourself. It's all about your choice. For example nga, okay, I have a lot of friends na kilala na nagbibisyo. And one time I asked them na, may nakukuha ba kayong maganda sa bisyo? They answer me that, don't question me like that, sabi niya sa akin. Because it's my choice. It's not an option, it's my choice. Gusto kong magbisyo, gusto ko ng ganyan, because that bisyo, even I am addict for that, nagiging masaya ako. Okay, hindi ko naman masisisi yung ibang tao na nagbibisyo dahil lang sa sometimes kasi yung tao nagbibisyo, it's because for their stress reliever. Because that Bapcal's issues have a positive and negative impact to everyone. But I know that my message or my advice to everyone who do that is do not proclaim or wag masyadong lunodin yung sarili sa bisyo. Just bisyo, or hindi ko naman sinasabing magbisyo kayo, but my advice is doing this for a moderation, because moderation can you bring to the better life, because the moderation is a conjugal or property ng isang tao. Yes, it's considered as a conjugal na nasa sarili mo lang kung gusto mong gawin or ayaw mong gawin. That is my message to all, especially the adults or the younger generation right now, na isipin mabuti ang ginagawa.
So, to summarize our discussion or our topic, Aristotle argued that virtues are not innate in human beings. Instead, they must be practiced, repetition, and habituation. Virtuous behavior is not just about performing a virtuous act, but about having the disposition or character that makes one inclined to act virtuously consistently. And according to Aristotle, happiness or the eudaimonia is the ultimate goal of a human life and can only be achieved by developing virtuous character traits. So overall, virtue ethics as a whole emphasizes the importance of character rather than rules or consequences as the key to ethical behavior and achieving a good life. So that would be all po for our topic and for today's discussion. I'm hoping na may natutunan po kayo. Thank you very much for listening.